All right, what up, fam? We are live now on Facebook. Let me go live on Instagram.
Me too.
Uh, guys, like and share this feed. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, both Facebooks, both YouTubes. So we out here. We out here. Today's a super dope week. Week 80. What are we
Hey,
doing? 83.
whoop, whoop, whoop.
Yes, we're 17 episodes away from being live for 100 episodes. Yeah, it's been a
We're almost
while.
at 100 episodes.
Yeah, we're 19 away, 17 away.
Wow. That's
So it's funny that our topic today is, well, yeah, I don't have it up. Why don't I have it up? Sorry about that, guys. Um,
creating
the
an
topic,
environment of creativity.
yeah. So sorry, I had some stuff on Canva up. But that's so important. What up, Billy? What up, Pedro? What up, Rafael? Uh, so this live is talking about making space for creativity. I think a lot of times when you are a creative person, sometimes it's easy to get stuck in jobs that are not creative. For me, for example, I love teaching, but sometimes the powers that can be can help stifle my creativity. Um, a lot of jobs are just like you go to work, you know what to do at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. It's routine. Routines are good, but routines can be very detrimental towards creative people, where you have to make room for creativity in what you do. A lot of my students, or some of my students that I've been teaching, have IEPs or learning disabilities. So I said to them, you have to make work fun for you, because sometimes a lot of times you guys get bored easily because you have never made room for creativity to dwell inside your life. So on a daily basis, I'm always doing something creative, because one thing about creativity, it sparks so much stuff, and it allows you to be alert. You're trying to make stuff happen, but you got to find real creativity. You got to find critical thinking opportunities to make sure that you're staying on your P's and Q's, that you're always learning, always growing. Um, One thing I did, I started a t-shirt business like last month. It's one of my shirts. How you do anything is how you do everything. These is me operating my creative gift. I'm able to design where one issue is being kind of like stifled, I'm allowing creativity into my life. So now I still have creativity flowing. And one thing about when you allow creativity to flow into your life, you'd be surprised what new ideas, what ventures you can try out for. Like I've been managing my content. I never thought about being someone's content creator at a job. Like I'm thinking about so many different things now because I'm allowing room for creativity.
I can't get off mute quick enough. That creativity is, I love that you talk about making room for it, because even now in my business, I am finding that because I am signing on more clients and they are taking up more of my time, I have to figure out a way to buy my time back. Because if I want to continue to evolve as a coach, to continue and evolve in my industry and really become, my goal is to become 10 times better than the best person in the industry, I'm going to have to find time and space and create an environment where creativity, like I have to create that, foster that environment. I can't wait until, oh, I have the time, because I will probably be tired. I can't, just postpone that. I have to really put some things in place in order to buy my time back. And one of the things as an entrepreneur you can do to get the time back so you can create space for creativity is outsourcing a lot of the things that you do. Like we don't have to do everything in our business just because we're the CEO, right? I don't have to send out all the emails. I don't have to be the one that is, because for me, I have a community, so I have to download the videos from Zoom and then take the videos off of Zoom and upload it to YouTube and put it on the membership site. Like, I don't have to be the one to do that. I can actually outsource those mundane tasks so that I am now having more room and more space to be creative. People don't realize that their everyday life, you doing the same thing, like you said, routine, although that is good, sometimes those mundane things can take away from your creativity because you're so exhausted. When you're so tired, you can't think. And you need the space and you need the energy to be creative in order to grow in your business.
I think that's so good what you said about you need the energy to be creative. Um, what I realize is sometimes that we burn ourselves out, like doing tasks. Like for example, Natalie said, we can assign somebody else, or we don't schedule those tasks to make room for them. Like what I learned is it's important for me to schedule what I want to do. Um, what I like to do first is I like to make a schedule for it. So, for example, is on Monday, I know I have to do X, Y, and Z on Monday, and it may be just two tasks or one task, but I have to avidly say that this is my time only to do this. And I think when you don't make time for it, your day kind of gets beside you, like off and on. I'm supposed to do this today. I'm supposed to do this today. One of my big sisters, I love her, Vanessa. She used to be a first lady of a big church in Jersey. One day, even after she was the first lady anymore. She got to a new marriage. She did something I always loved. As I got close to her, she created a schedule, and in her calendar, she would write every single down for the month, for the week, and for the day. So let's say, for example, we're going into Friday. She would write the 5 things down she want to get done Friday. But on Friday night, if she didn't get it done, she would write down what she accomplished and what has to be done for the next day, or when can I reschedule this moment. And I love that about her because she always taught me a lot about structure, where you can have a structured learning experience, a creative moment where sometimes you have to create that. Some people are like, oh, well, creativity doesn't flow like that, but you have to train your mind to flow creatively like that. Where, like, people say they got writer's block or stuff like that, where they don't feel like doing it. And sometimes I feel like that. Sometimes, like, I don't feel like being creative right now. I feel like doing this, but I have to realize that if I make a schedule for this, my mind and body, my soul and my spirit has to align with that. And sometimes it's really about getting your flesh in line with what you have going on, because if you don't create alignment for this stuff, you're going to keep going through the same thing. And when I realized the more room I make for creativity, like I'm always making opportunities to learn and grow. And especially in the kitchen, like it's like, for example, today we made donuts and the other day we made bagels, but last week we made them, the recipe was all right. So let me try it again, because I want to find the most creative way for my students to learn, because I want to show up in a perfected manner. No one is perfect, but you can still perfect your gifts. And I think by taking time to be creative, you'll learn the new ways and opportunities to bring your brands to the marketplace. And a lot of times, the reason why your stuff is not selling because your stuff is trash. You're not taking time to be creative. Like I remember the picture that I took of this competition when I was 17 years old to get into Johnson Wells for free to do this program. My plate up to then, I was so proud of that. But I would never have, even after like 2 weeks after submitting that, my chef said, why you come to us? We would have helped you elevate what you had going on. But for me, I was just trying to get it done, but I wasn't make time to see what my surrounding had, be creative, that I probably would have got into the program for free, probably, if I would have did that. So I'm learning that if you want to be the best at what you do, you got to make time to be creative. You got to make time to hone your craft. And honestly, sometimes if you just give yourself 5 to 10 minutes, even like what I love to do is they have the games on your phone that you can play that causes critical thinking. Those games are so important because if you play 5 minutes a day, it helps you get your brain flowing about math, about science, critical thinking. Those games always pop up on our news feeds on Instagram. But if you start playing those games, it start helping you with critical thinking skills, where now you're making better decisions based off of the time you create. You have to make time to grow. You have to make time to advance. But if you never make time for those things, you can't be surprised when you're still stuck doing the same thing. You can't be surprised that you haven't elevated to the next level. You haven't made time to elevate to the next level. You haven't made time to work on you. You have made time. Like, the thing I love about teaching is, even though I think PDs that we do are stupid, they make time in our schedule for PD, professional development. In your business, in your field of study, in your job, do you actively do PDs, professional developments, for you to grow? Like, I love to do classes about culinary arts, about design, because I'm always wanting to create the best experience for my clients. Like, even too, like when I do the customizing, it started by me taking time to think about, what do I want to show my audience? I want to be the best version of me. So when I give them the price, they're not complaining about, oh, that's pricey, because they've seen, but your work is this. This lady I had yesterday, she's like, that's a little pricey, chef. I don't know if I can, I don't want to do that. I showed her some video. She's like, let me ponder on this. And she texted me and said, chef, I want, because the creativity that I've developed with learning about tables key, learning how to do the table, learning about how to plate food up. When 10, probably 15 years ago, I couldn't plate up nothing. But by me being creative, I've been able to expand not only my audience, but also my price point.
That's good. That's so good. I love when you talk about creating that, the boundaries around that. And even when you dove into when just using those apps on your phone to kind of, jumpstart your creativity or whatnot. Oh.
Sadie wants to be on the podcast. Sadie wants to have a conversation.
She know I already told her I'm on the podcast and they be waiting. But I was thinking about just having that time, right? Really having the time to be creative. And sometimes you have to manufacture that time on your own. So for me, what I did before I wrote my book was I would sit down and I would visualize. I would just sit down and dream. And I would put that on my schedule for 15 minutes a day. I would sit down and dream about what my future would look like. And the crazy part was that visualization, that really it just got my creative juices flowing, that when there was an opportunity for me to write a book, it was like, oh, I got these journals from here. I got this thing from here. Oh, I can put this thing together. And then I started writing. And when I saw what I wrote, I was like, ooh, your girl out here, I'm really doing the thing. But I took the space to just dream. I didn't do anything but close my eyes and let my imagination run wild. And that really put me in a position to be more creative. Sometimes you put those boundaries, like I have to write, or I have to do this thing, or I have to paint, or I have to draw. But when it's just, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to close my eyes, and whatever I see, we don't realize how important that is, especially as a visionary. You better stop. Especially as a visionary, especially as the person guiding the business, you need time to think. And let me just say this.
Listen, that whole, so she a mama of 5 and with a dog too, so we got something going on. But I think that's so true what you're saying about that whole thing about really making time, like we said. Like before I started really traveling a lot of business coaches, I saw myself making I thought 100K was a lot of money, right? I thought that was like, okay, making 6 figures, that's dope. But when you get to a place of people that I travel with, when they're making 100K a day, your whole mindset just shifts. Like, what activities do I do to even reach that certain level of audience, right? So what I started now, my mindset, like even just traveling, like going to different mansions to cook out of, my whole outlook on success is so different. When you're raised, you didn't realize you was raised like poor, or not poor, but you didn't realize how much you went without until you're around people who have abundance. Like, you don't, like, we had abundance of love growing up, and my mom did an amazing job with my sister and I. Like, I appreciate her so much, but being around people who are multimillionaires, you realize what's so important to you at a lower amount is not even a consideration at a bigger amount. Stuff that you find normal at their place is not normal to you, or vice versa. And what it made me realize was like, yo, Jay, you have to stretch yourself, to your capacity to receive. Back in 2000, and I think 11 or maybe 10, we got a chance to meet this guy called Chef Jefferson Evans in college. And he was the first Black graduate to graduate the Culinary Institute of America. But when we sat with this guy, he's passed on now. He had to be like 98 when he passed. But when I met him, he had to be like 80 something, like late 80s. This guy has had over 12 professions. You got to think, he's, he was older, so he was the first Black of many things. But to know this guy has so many jobs and vastly different careers, I'm like, Jay, you're 19, 20. What do you want your legacy to be? Like, this person inspired me so much because like his limits were limitless. And so oftentimes we feel like we can't do certain things because we have not exposed ourselves to reach that level. You can't show me once I've seen, but what happens is when you see certain things that's not to your norm, creativity starts to like, how can I get this? How can I do this? How can I get to this level? And you start to say, no, I can get that part, but now I have to learn how to reach new levels. And when you start to stretch yourself and start to be open to different things, like you said, I can't unsee somebody's account getting $100,000 a day. I can't unsee that, right? I can't unsee people that look like me who are Black, who are living in mansions, who are traveling, who are doing dope things. And it's not about material things, but finances helps with a lot of happiness. Like, finances help you grow in different ways you didn't expect to grow. So like, with that being said, you have to give yourself room to be creative. I'm so proud of my cousins. Aisha, Aisha started a chocolate line, so she makes chocolate dips, chocolate. But Aisha business has been trying to find out what works for her for a while, but now she found out what works for her, and I'm so proud of her because she loves what she does with making chocolate desserts and lollipops and stuff like that, where she does it effortlessly. But if she didn't take time to really develop their creativity and always find that thing that makes her happy or excited, she would have never reached that. And I think we have to be okay with giving ourselves grace to know that we can do more than our average. But I think sometimes stretching ourselves has become like, just be good at one thing and be great at that's great. But what if I'm good at multiple things? Let me explore that. And I teach my students, like, while y'all on your family's budget, explore life at that age. Because once you get once you get older, it becomes harder to explore that because you get hit with the reality of real life bills. So this is why you're younger, you have more resources from your parent. You can dibble and dabble. Like, I'm always finding new. Like, I have so many gadgets that I buy, it only because I want to make my craft stand. Everything has to do with my one thing that comes back to food at the end of the day. But food has allowed open up so many doors. But if I would have been okay with working at the Hyatt, and just being back at the house cook, I would have still been there, and I would have been on probably, like, I started in 2007, so I would have been working on 14 years or 15 years there. And I'm like, is that what I really want to do? Like, we have to be okay to stretch ourselves. And sometimes things are harder for you when you try to stretch yourself, but that means you're meant for greater. A lot of times we face opposition because we're meant for greater. It's okay if you go through stuff, but it's not okay if you don't go through it. You have to keep pushing and going, because if you never get to the other side and make room for creativity, you never knew what you was really good at. You never knew what you can do. But if you stay focused on being a student of life, I met this lady, she became at my school, she became a doctorate. She got to be in her 50s or 60s. She said, I did it. I'm a grandmother, but I became, it was harder for me because of so many technology advances. But now I can say I'm a student of life, but we have to get to when we're a student of life, that we want to learn and we want to be the best at whatever we have working on.
That's good. I love that she's a grandmother and she just got her doctorate. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
That's what's up. As you were talking, right? And you said you really can't unsee a thing. That's what I say all the time. I was like, I can't unsee a thing. There's certain things that I see, and when I see it, it propels me to go to the next level, right? And this quote that I love by Marianne Williamson. It's been in a lot of different movies. And I remember when I was feeling very low and stuck in my life, that this quote manifested itself, I want to say. And I started writing it down literally every day for a good 10 days. And it says, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be? Brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous. Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. You playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all
Mm.
meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. This has been a catalyst for me saying, you know what, it's time to be all that God has called me to be. And that means tapping into my most creative side, which also means giving myself room to evolve and to grow. And understanding that as I grow and evolve, I'm giving permission to everybody around me to do the same, because the abundance is not just for some, it was created for all of us. All of us have the ability to be creative in every aspect of our lives. All of us have the ability to be wealthy. It does not have to be some are poor and some are rich. We can all be rich, and it doesn't take anything away. We think that if the poor person gets rich, then that takes away from me. And it doesn't. All of us have the ability to shine bright. But we don't realize our holding ourselves back doesn't give anybody else permission to move forward. It actually gives other people more permission to dim themselves, to be less creative, to go back into their fear, because that's our natural nature. Our natural nature is to be fearful, is to be afraid of things. We hold ourselves back all the time. But we got to say, you know what? I'm going to give myself the space and the room, even if I have to carve it into my schedule, creativity time from 4 to 4:30, and just sit there and see what comes up. Give
Yeah.
yourself, you are worth that. Giving yourself the time to push beyond your current boundaries.
Oh yeah, I love that. And I think the reason why sometimes you have to be okay with being creative, like now you don't know who's watching you. Like you're literally giving people permission to do certain things. Like I enjoy working with young people and people I've that follow that I've worked with. I don't even know they even paying attention to me. But what I've learned that sometimes when you do things that are greater to them, it gives permission, like, oh, I could do that too. And I think that's the biggest thing. You never know who's watching you. You know, you always have that childlike faith to know I can do that. I love the fact as a kid, like, oh, that's my car. That's my car, the game we'll play. But that's reality. Where did that creativity go? Where did that mindset go that you can have whatever you want? And I think the more you start to be consistent when make it time to be creative, the more doors will open for you, the more opportunities you have. If you make time to be creative, you put time in your schedule. Like you got to put time in your schedule to become what you want to become. If you never put time in your schedule to become what you become, you're gonna stay stuck being what you don't want to be until you make time to make time to make room for greatness, to make time for success, to make time for manifestation in life. You're gonna stay where you are. And if you're looking, we still got 11 more months of the year. And if you look at that, what can I do in this first quarter still? What can I do to end January strong? You have to start taking time to really plan out your life and to make moves. If you're looking for coaching, reach out to us, guys. We're going to log off pretty soon. Um, and Natalie just dropped to her whole community. So if you want to sign up for that, hit Natalie up in her DMs because it's time to pivot and change. It's time to grow. If you're looking for apparel, I have the link in my bio as well too. Because remember, how you do anything is how you do everything, right? How you do anything is how you do everything. The way you prepare for bed is how, like the way you prepare your mindset, the way you prepare your clothes, like everything has a role in success. And we wanted this to be a successful year. And we hope you guys have a super dope week on purpose.